The Journey to Dreamtime. Introduction to a charming journey of adventure for two children. The adventure begins in the county of Kent, often referred to as the Garden of England, famous for its apples, hops, and vegetables. One day, on their morning walk with their dog, Monty, an adorable Maltese, as they walk down to the windmill, they encounter Professor Watson, along with his hot air balloon preparing for a flight. Unbeknown to them, the professor is in possession of a magic globe. Their adventures begin when they are invited to go on a hot air balloon ride with the professor. Chapter 1. Mia from Kent. It was a typical autumnal morning in southern England. A 7-year-old boy named Alex and his 10-year-old sister Nathalie were taking their dog for his morning walk before going to school. Alex was 4 feet 3 inches tall and weighed 55 pounds. His sister, Nathalie, had blonde hair, which she usually wore in pigtails, and her eyes were a lighter hue. She was just a foot taller than her brother, even though 3 years separated them. Alex and Nathalie lived with their parents in a small village in the beautiful Kent countryside, along with their 2 pets, Monty, a white Maltese dog, and Willow, a barn owl. They were very special animals, each possessing skills that Alex and Nathalie knew nothing about yet. Willow had amazing penetrating eyes that could almost see as well at night as in the daytime. She was able to fly so silently that no one could hear her coming. She could turn her head 3/4 of the way around, enabling her to see and hear much further than most animals and all humans. In fact, her hearing was so good, she could hear a mouse running beneath the ground. Monty was a small, fluffy, 7-pound dog with human-like, straight, silky blonde hair. Well, it was, when he was first washed and groomed each week. It soon became tangled and a little dirty. His sense of smell was so good he could tell who had been past a spot, no matter where it was. He also had exceptional hearing, enabling him to track anyone, animals, insects, reptiles, or humans. The 2 pets often talked to each other, as pets do when no one is around. Up until now, they have kept this a secret from Alex and Nathalie. The 2 friendly pets could tell Alex and Nathalie what has happened in the past, what is happening now, and what would happen in the future. These skills were going to become very useful to them quite soon. Alex and Nathalie really liked living in southern England, in this quiet little Kentish village, with its village green, where the grown-ups played cricket every Saturday and Sunday in the summer, before retiring across the road to the village pub for a ploughman's lunch, washed down with a pint of beer to drown their sorrows for often losing. You see, they were not very good cricketers. The village also had an old stone church dating back to the 16th century. The churchyard, which had long been closed to burials, was filled with headstones from the 17th and 18th centuries. A little further along the road was a modern 5-classroom school, along with a parade of shops, a grocer, a butcher, and a newsagent with a post office counter. There was even a wonderful Indian restaurant in the old station building a little further along the road. Trains still regularly stopped on their way to the coast and up to London, some 45 minutes away. Alex and Nathalie loved eating chicken, tikka marsala, at the Indian restaurant with their parents. The windmill. Further along the main road, down a narrow country lane, nestled in a quiet corner of a field, there was a restored windmill that was now used as the village hall. Many years ago, farmers would bring their wheat, oats, and barley to be milled here. Using just the power of the wind, they would be turned into flour, milled oats, and milled barley for brewing. Alex and Nathalie often took Monty to the windmill on his morning walk. Before they left for the short walk to school, it was always quiet. The narrow lane hardly ever had any traffic at that time of the morning, so their parents felt it was a safe route to take for Monty's walk. Today it was a typical damp October morning, with the dew covering the grass and a light mist partially obscuring the view. Alex and Nathalie were each wearing a warm, waterproof anorak to keep the moist air out. They walked briskly, as they only had 20 minutes before it was time to head to school. The walk should take them around 15 minutes to complete, which gave them enough time to walk Monty and visit Willow to make sure she had sufficient water and food for the day. Willow's barn was specially built for her with a built-in exercise area. Turning the corner onto the graveled lane, Alex started to scuff his shoes, kicking the bigger stones as he walked into the stone-covered vehicle tracks. Nathalie scolded him, telling him he would be in trouble if he kept it up, but Alex just laughed and carried on. The lane was only a few hundred feet long, with very high-trimmed hedges on either side of it. The hedges completely obscured the view of the windmill. Eventually, the lane opened into a small area for parking, perhaps large enough for half a dozen cars. There was a notice board displaying meeting times of the parish council in front of the windmill, Professor Watson's hot air balloon and magic globe. They quickly reached the car park. Looking across the large, open field, they were astonished to see in the middle of the field, some distance from the windmill, what looked like a large hot air balloon lying uninflated on the ground. There was a large gondola next to the balloon, with an elderly man nearby who was fussing over some tie lines.